What's up, everybody? I'm the Net Alliance here today answering your questions that you guys left on the last Q&A. If you have any future questions and you want to be seen in the next Q&A, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Right now I got about 12, so let's see how this goes. Remember to like and subscribe to check out more videos of mine, and I guess let's jump right into it. As you can see, I got my Star Wars background here and I have my little Yoda with his awesome glasses on, so leave a like for the little Yoda with the glasses if you think he's cool. First question is from It's Not a Mankey, and he says, will you give me a stream schedule if possible? Yes. So here's the thing, I don't really have a set schedule for what I stream. If I am going to stream, it's gonna be Saturday and Sunday between 12 to 2. This is Eastern time. The best thing to do, I'd recommend, is when you subscribe to my channel, even if you're subscribed right now, go to the little bell button down there, click the bell button, set up the notifications. I'll actually put an event up first, so then you can see the event pop up in your notifications, so then you can be right there when the actual show begins. All right, moving on to our second question we have from Dennis Rickman the second, or Dennis Rickman Jr., whatever. He asks, would you ever do a versus mixing characters from different franchises? And the example he gave was Gandalf versus Dumbledore. I will, if it makes sense. If I'm going to be doing that, I'm going to be doing that more towards like after versus number 30. Right now I'm at number 18. Number 19 comes out on Friday. That's going to be Boba Fett versus Jango Fett, so make sure to like, subscribe for that. Put the notification on there too so you can see it first, and then you'll be awesome. So in conclusion to your question, yes, I will essentially do that type of stuff later, maybe a Goku versus Superman type of thing at some point, but for right now, no. But of course, you can keep leaving me the suggestions, because if I see them now and then later when I start doing it and I see more people doing it, then I might feel more inclined to actually do it due to your suggestion. So there you go. Our next question here is from Gundam Heavy Arms, and he asks, who is your favorite character in the Star Wars Legends universe? Now, I actually have a video on this. I'll put a little link over here. It's up there somewhere. Go ahead and click it. The 5 Legends characters I'd like to actually see get put back into the actual canon of Star Wars. Go check that out. You'll know who I'm gonna pick. So there you go. Next one we have from Darth Darth. I really like that you are defending the prequels. I am proud of you. Now, this isn't exactly a question, but I felt like I should put this on because, yeah, I mean, the prequels were my movies, essentially. I always say this in all my videos just to get this across before I get destroyed by the original lovers. But when it comes down to it, I understand that the originals are better films, but the prequels, especially episode 3, that's like my movie. That's my Star Wars movie. And although its quality isn't as great as the originals, it's actually a more fun film to me. I like to watch it. I like to remember all the memories of me running around in the backyard with my lightsabers, pretending to battle my friends and slice battle droids. And when I was playing as Anakin, I'd kill other Jedi, that type of stuff, you know, and it brings back good memories for me. And I remember just loving the entire film back when I was a kid. Now, of course, as I gotten older, I realized that there are some things that are, you know, don't really hold up as well. But what I've been noticing actually is, it's funny to say this, but what I've been noticing is that the new sequel trilogy coming out is now getting hate from the prequel and the original trilogy. It's like the original and the prequel trilogy guys, they were fighting before, right? And now they're teamed up taking down the new trilogy coming out. And it's just like, what? Where did this come from? To me, Star Wars is Star Wars. Doesn't matter if it has midichlorians in it or not. I have fun with it. I'm just happy it's there, and I make the best out of every situation. And that's how I live with just my life personally. So, because you always hear that, well, if you like the prequels, then you're not a true Star Wars fan. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? It's okay to like what you want. If you like Star Wars, I'm cool with you. If you don't like Star Wars, then you're kind of lame and you should kill yourself. No, I'm joking, don't do that. But when it comes down to it, if you like the originals, cool. If you like the prequels, cool. If you like the originals and you hate the prequels, you don't have to like them, you don't have to care about them, don't even watch them, but you still have to acknowledge they do exist and they will exist no matter how much you dislike them. So that's all I'm gonna say. Moving on to the next question. Next one we have from Obi-Wan0816 Star Wars, and he asks, what is your favorite thing to do? I have a few different things I like to do. First off, video editing. Second off, I like to actually more recently, because I used to do this when I was a kid too, but then once I started getting Ultra Sabers and stuff and I started getting a little more revenue from YouTube that could support doing this, I started picking up more ultra sabers, and they're so cheap. And we'll just battle with lightsabers like we did when we were kids. And the thing about it is, people might think like, oh, that's lame, that's nerdy. And which, yeah, it's a little nerdy, I'm gonna admit. But it's such a good workout. Because you have to remember, like, sword fighting is not only just swinging a blade, it's strategy. You need to be able to break your enemy's blocks, try to get past their defenses, take them down. You know, when to switch back on your own defense. It's a pretty interesting idea. I always liked the idea of sword fighting, but now I have lightsabers, so like lightsaber sword fighting, put them together, boom, you got fun. I also play Ultimate Frisbee. I have a crew around town, which we all get together and we all play Frisbee together, so that's a fun time. I actually mentioned that before in one of my Q&As in the past. Recommend checking that out. I don't know which one, but it's somewhere, so you can check out my Q&A playlist and watch them all if you want. I love the game. I love watching movies. I love listening to music. Now I'm 22, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never did any drugs. I never really saw the appeal of that. I'd say that I always looked at life as kind of like Zen, you know? There's no point in making life harder if you don't have to. That's something that I think people don't really do as much because they always think that, well, you know, life is supposed to be a challenge, but honestly, it doesn't have to be. Just do your best and be the best person you can be, and good things will come from that. And honestly, I think that's what's really helping me, that's really driving me as well. Not only because of the awesome fans I've gotten from YouTube in just the past few months, but also the fact that everything's working out for me. You know, I know that right now, if I work my butt off now, it's gonna pay off in the long run. And I'm just ready for that, so. Thank you for your question. Let's go on to the next one. Speaking of video games, actually, this one's from a simple man. He says, what is your favorite video game genre? It depends. I'm a big fan of RTSs, which are real-time strategy games, and of course, first-person shooters. So I'd probably pick between those two, are one of my favorite ones. But third-person shooters are pretty cool too. Probably gonna go first-person shooter though. Overall, first-person shooter is probably my type of thing. And it doesn't just have to be a shooter, of course. It can be like first-person sword fighting or whatever, FPS, if you want to count that. Next one we have from Lego Fan 2623. He asks, what would your choice for the final anthology film in 2020? So, okay, so pretty much what would I choose for a film in 2020? I think an interesting idea would be to do Clone Wars Disney style. So what we would do, I actually came up with the idea when I read this comment originally, but we're in the Clone Wars, right? So we can go back to the Clone Wars, we can do our own little Clone Wars thing, and Disney can kind of put their own stamp on it. So what I think would be cool is, like, there's a battalion of clones, right? They get chased into a sector somewhere in space. Something goes wrong, the electricity gets knocked out in their ship, they fall to this planet. They soon find out that all of their communications technology has been jammed, and they need to go find the jammer and essentially destroy it or take it down or whatever to be able to contact for evac. Now it turns out that this is also a separatist planet, and it's a planet maybe where the Death Star was first getting created. Do you know what I mean? It's before it was truly found out. And the Republic soldiers would be like having to run from the separatist army that's essentially chasing them. And slowly they'd fall one by one, you know, and then eventually maybe some would survive. They shut down the communications array, they'd get evac and they'd be okay. But we could also throw some dinosaurs in there. Maybe it's a dinosaur planet, I don't know. I think that'd be pretty interesting. I like that idea. If you guys like that idea for that one, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do a video on it. That'd be cool. If you want to see that, comments below. All right, next one we have from Expotastic, and he said, would you like to see an Old Republic trilogy after episode 9? Yes. Make it now, Disney, make it now. Listen to the fans for once. Thanks. All right, this next one we have is a really tough one. This is from Topita TV, and he asks, pizza or pizza? Ooh, this one's tough. I want to say fire truck, but let's go with pizza. Next one from Darth Levy, and he asks, just wondering, what phone do you have? I like it and I'm interested in buying a new phone. Okay, so this phone right here, you guys wanna know what phone this is? This phone is the Note 7. Have you heard about the phone that has been blowing up everywhere? Yeah, that's this one right here. But here's the thing about this phone. Mine has yet to do anything with explosions. The only time I ever had this thing get that hot was actually when I first turned it on and I first doing the updates. It got a little hot from there, but ever since then it never got hot, never showed any signs of overheating or sparks coming out of it. Well, clearly I wouldn't be holding if sparks were coming out of it, but there's never been a problem with this phone. Essentially what it came down to was 1 in every 30,000 phones is malfunctioned. So that's why you heard when like 2 million of these things went out, only like 300 of them actually blew up, you know, and it got blown out of proportion. It's really not that big of a deal. This phone is so awesome, and Samsung's trying to release like updates to shut it down on me. In fact, there's an update right now that pretty much shuts my phone down to 60% battery, but I decided that I'm not going to install that. Like, what the heck? Why would I install it? Because they have to get my permission, and that's how I'm gonna get them. So you see, when they think I'm gonna install that and I'm gonna make my phone get only half the juice they can actually get in there, forget that. I'm not even gonna install it. Maybe when the Galaxy S8 comes out, I'll go and I'll trade this bad boy in then. But for right now, this is the best phone that's ever existed, honestly, in my opinion. This destroys Apple's phones. This destroys any Samsung's phone before. It's got everything I ever wanted, including a headphone jack right there. And it's the best phone, so I'm not getting rid of it without a fight. You know, they're gonna have to come after me, I swear. I'll bring a lightsaber out on somebody, honestly, because this is the best phone ever. Plus, it matches my color. See, white and black. White, black, white, black. Oh, even share, white, black. There's more white and black stuff, but that's my theme, so yeah. All right, coming up to our second last question they ask, what is your favorite moment in each Star Wars film, 1 through 7, not Rogue One, sorry. Okay, well, I haven't seen Rogue One anyways by this point of filming, so that's okay. Let's just go from episode 1 to episode 7 right from here. So episode 1, my favorite scene is probably the fight between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan. Great fight. They'll be like, oh, well, this guy was dumb, Jar Jar Binks. Oh my God. And like, oh, well, how about that fight though? And they're like, oh, you know, you're right. The lightsaber fight was too good. And it's true. It evolved the lightsaber fight. You know, we'll never see lightsaber fights like the originals ever again. Well, hopefully we don't see them. I mean, we kind of saw that in the first one. Here's the thing. I think two skilled lightsaber duelists, if they're dueling each other, were skilled and trained. I always kind of saw it like it made sense why Jedis and Sith, when they battled, it looked like they were dancing. And I like that idea, and that's why it makes sense to me. So I hope they don't change that in the next one. If they bring Luke and Snoke into this, who are supposed to be two really skilled Jedi and not Sith, but still pretty much Sith, and they're gonna fight each other with lightsabers, I better see some type of dancing going on, okay? Because I think that makes sense to me, and I don't want to see no. But this video is getting long, so I'm gonna try to kind of speed run through the rest of these. Okay, episode 2. It's got to be the part where Anakin takes down the Tusken Raiders. I always love that scene. I don't know, something about it was so satisfying. It was one of the things like you knew like, no, Anakin, don't do that. But you're also like, yeah, Anakin, get him. You know, I think that was awesome. Episode 3, 2 scenes are my favorite. I'll say both of them because they're both so good. First off, the scene where Anakin and Palpatine are sitting inside the theater. I knew since the very beginning, since I was watching that film in theaters when I was like 10, I knew who he was talking about. I knew that Palpatine was inferring himself in that story. And I knew that that was him trying to manipulate Anakin. And I remember just thinking like, whoa, like this guy is serious. You know, before you haven't seen Palpatine yet. You've seen little hints of this through the prequels. Half of the audience said, I wonder how Palpatine knows all this. And the other half said, this is where Palpatine's showing up. You know, and that's great. And that's what I love about that scene. And then, of course, the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan, that's why I have them on here. That's the best scene in the entire film, in my personal opinion. Best lightsaber fight there's been yet. Maybe the Tarzan part, they're swinging on the railing, and they're like, oh, and they're like slicing each other with their blades. That could have probably been taken out of that fight, but besides that, it's still a great scene. Episode 4, when Luke blows up the Death Star, I think that's like the first time we see him really use the Force, where he's like, Luke, use the Force. He just goes in the zone, uses the Force, and takes out the Death Star. However, my favorite line in episode 4 is, Mos Eisley Spaceport. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. I always liked that line. Episode 5, when Yoda first shows up, which is awesome. Maybe even the Hoth battle is pretty cool, but overall, best scene hands down has to be where Darth Vader says he's Luke's father. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. You had 30 plus years to hear this, but spoiler alert, that's probably the most iconic scene in not only just the Star Wars universe, but also filmography itself, you know, cinematography as well. They're both technically the same thing. It's a big deal that we've seen in pop culture and entertainment, everything. So my favorite part of episode 6 is where Luke could have definitely killed Vader, but he chooses not to. I love that part when he's like, he throws the lightsaber over, he's like, I'm a Jedi, like my father before me, you know? I always just like that part. When it comes down to the best scene in episode 7, this one's tough because there's not that many incredible scenes in that film, in my opinion. I guess the part where they're like on the Millennium Falcon and Rey like dips it and she shoots, and or Finn shoots and then blows up the TIE fighter. That was pretty cool. But I gotta say, I guess I'll go with a comedy for this one. Probably the best scene in that entire film is when Kylo's like freaking out. He's like destroying like things, and you see like those 2 stormtroopers like walk over. They're like, oh, they just turn around and walk the other way. That's a good scene. I like that the new film added comedy. You know, it had that Disney comedy in there, kind of like the Marvel films have. I like that. I'm a fan of that type of thing, so I'm okay with that. So yeah, those are my favorite moments. Now this video has gone on for a very long time, so let's do this very last one. This one is from Steph Fee, and he asks, are you a Trekkie? No, I'm a Star Wars guy 100%. The new films are okay. Actually, I only saw the first one and that was all right. And I heard the second one wasn't that good, and I heard the third one was pretty good. So I may consider actually watching those eventually at some point. But for right now, no. But that's it for this Q&A. This is probably a much longer video than I usually would do for my Q&As. So sorry about that. Please remember to like and subscribe for more videos. Remember, if you have any questions of your own, you want to be seen in the next Q&A, you might just make it if you leave a comment below. It doesn't have to be about Star Wars. It can be about Marvel. It can be about video games. It can be about all that jargon and yada yada and etc. Just leave the question, comments below. Once again, remember, like and subscribe for more videos, guys. And until next time, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.